Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez is a fight both fighters are interested in, but Canelo doesn't think that Terence has beaten anyone that's good. Oscar De La Hoya believes that the fight would be a great fight for boxing, and he has his money on Terence Crawford. Oscar stated, "I give Crawford all the credit in the world for even thinking of possibly fighting Canelo, but if that fight ever takes place, I have Crawford 1000%. People will say, oh, you're contradicting yourself. I kind of am, but Crawford is also a big guy who can handle Canelo because they're the same size. Crawford is a guy that punches hard, but he doesn't rely on his power. He relies on his footwork, his speed, his change-ups, his combinations. He relies on his mind, and I believe Crawford is a way better boxer than Canelo." Terence Crawford even stated that the fight would be one of the biggest fights in boxing. Terence stated, "I would definitely have to gain weight. I just believe in my abilities. Canelo's not a big guy, he's 5'8". He's muscular, but as far as height, nah. That wouldn't be anything that we'd have to see. I think it can happen. To be honest, I think it's the biggest fight in boxing if he beats Charlo. Terence Crawford versus Canelo, that's the biggest fight in boxing, hands down. No disrespect to Charlo, but he's not on Canelo's level." Demetrius Andrade really thinks Terence is going to have problems with the bigger boys though. Demetrius stated, "On the way he was putting him down, yeah, I was surprised. That's my boy, don't get f***ed up though. Don't come up here to 168, it's a big difference. Crawford has the skill, but at 168, there are skilled fighters up here. There ain't nobody seeing what he's doing, plus we'll be able to bully him. Fight Canelo, get your pay. Canelo's not a natural 168, 175 type guy. He started off at 154, 160. He's not like a tall guy. Canelo will say, hell yeah, that's not Triple G, that's not David Benavidez, that's a small guy." Shane Mosley thinks that Crawford would be able to handle Jermell Charlo, but he really thinks he's biting off a little bit too much with Canelo. Shane stated, "So I would go Crawford, but Canelo does have a good shot. I can see him winning too. I can see both guys winning. It's a good fight. I think he's biting off more than he can chew because Canelo is a big boy. The size of the boxing ring, it matters. I know because when I went to 154, I wasn't really a 154 pounder. I won some titles and knocked out some people, but in reality, I knew I wasn't a 154 pounder." Jermell Charlo isn't worried about Crawford though, and he stated, "I think that Terence Crawford could be on the marketing point. He could be using it that way because I heard what y'all were saying. But Terence Crawford's problem is he was never with the right people before this. Now that he got his feet wet a little bit and he likes the promotion and he likes all of that, now he wants to bite off a little bit more than he can chew, you know? We can't even talk about 154 because you may have to meet me at another weight because my boy Errol is going to 154 and my brother may be moving up to 68 permanently. I might set up at 60 or spend my career somewhere else. I was at 54 for a long time. I've only been in 2 weight divisions and I conquered that whole division. What else do I have to prove at that division?" As for the fight between Jermell and Canelo, Demetrius Andrade believes that Canelo will end up with a classic win. Demetrius stated, "I'm not saying Jermell will be a walkover or nothing, but when you look at the Castano kid who gave him a hard time and he needed 2 fights, Canelo's got way more power, way more experience, has got great defense and is getting better with some of his movements. Charlo's not the most athletic fighter out there, he's a straight up guy. Canelo's been working on his movements and he knows how to counter well. So I don't think it's going to be difficult for Canelo to get the W. But my hat goes off to both guys for making it happen." Tony Harrison thinks that Jermell was stupid for trying to move up so many weight classes, but he's still hoping he comes away with a win. Tony stated, "I think it was stupid. I think it was very stupid. Not necessarily him moving up because he probably naturally walks around at that weight. I think it was stupid in the aspect of him breaking his hand and coming back to fight one of boxing's best. I think it was stupid to move up 2 weight classes to do it. I wouldn't even feel comfortable with Jermell fighting Alvarez at 160. I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. No matter why he did it, there's a reason why he did it, right? And that's the first thing that tells us there's a reason why he chose this fight, and I'm rooting for that man." Malik Scott thinks that the fight is going to be a tough one for both fighters.
when the going gets tough and the tough get going, he always get tougher to me. I never see him break under pressure. And I think it's going to be a pivotal moment in the fight where he's going to feel something he's never felt before. But I think he could pass the test with flying colors. I truly, truly do. As stubborn as he come across outside the ring, I believe his genius is all inside the ring.
Paulie Malignaggi thinks that Jermell has to be extremely disciplined against someone like Canelo, but he thinks that he'll be able to do it. Paulie stated, he'll close the gap very smoothly, but then he'll kind of overextend his combinations and get a little wild. It's not realistic to assume that Jermell will fight in a careful, calculated way because he never has before. We saw it in the Castano fight, and he was getting himself caught. Tony Harrison was able to take advantage of it in spots with little pot shots in between. Really, that's kind of dangerous if you fall into that habit against Canelo Alvarez. Canelo's not the most adept fighter, but he's very good at holding position and holding his ground and making you pay where he's at if you overcommit. Shakur Stevenson has his money on Jermell to beat Canelo.
I would not be shocked if Charlo beats him.
Really?
I would not be shocked. But it depends if Canelo could like walk him down without getting hurt or buzzed.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting to see.
Austin Trout is the only other boxer to face Jermell and Canelo before, and he thinks that Jermell will come away with the win. Austin stated, in my experience of both men, I walked Canelo down. I was on the back foot with Charlo. Now, it was a 5-year difference, but nonetheless, that was the difference in my opinion. Charlo was definitely the stronger man at 154. Yeah, Charlo put me down twice. Canelo put me down once. I came back and won the round. They didn't give me credit for it, but with Charlo, I had to outbox him. I couldn't walk him down. I couldn't try to outbrawl him. Charlo has looked good in his last 3 fights. Canelo, unfortunately, has not. So one may have more wear and tear than the other. I think Charlo is more in his prime. Canelo is still in his prime, but maybe in the tail end of his prime. That's my idea and my opinion. While some pros don't think Canelo has looked too good in some of his recent fights, Canelo has called Terence Crawford out for not fighting anyone of note aside from one person. Canelo stated, "No, look, like I always said, I respect Terence Crawford. He's a very talented fighter, but he just won one big fight. If you see his record, he just beat one good fighter in Errol Spence. Other than that, I don't think he's beaten other great fighters like Spence." Well, Terence will get the chance to beat his greatest opponent yet again as Errol Spence has activated his rematch clause, but Terence seems ready. Terence stated, "This is what it looks like when opportunity meets preparation. A person that's been waiting his whole career for the opportunity to have that one moment where he shows the world who he truly is. The world hasn't seen the best of you yet, but enjoy the light, young fella, because it doesn't last forever." If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.